Brignac, a guy that's really come on and become a very good all-around player for this club. And we see another reason why this Ray team is as good as they are is they do the running game. They can all run. They're all athletic. Obviously, they catch the ball that we've touched on as well as anybody in the game, but they are as athletic and keep the pressure on these opposing pitchers all the time.
122 on the season, 30 more than the next club.
Yeah! Fly ball right field. Bosch will make the catch. 2 down, back to second to Bartlett.
That's off to the races.
Absolutely.
122 stolen bases, and everybody except for Shopik, I'm sure, has a green light.
And look, they're 4th in the American League in runs scored, and you look at the rest, take out the stolen bases, you look at the rest of their numbers. They're middle of the pack or bottom of the pack in batting average, home runs, slugging percentage, things like that. But 2 things they do really well: run and work the count and get on base. And when you do those things and you have a good pitching staff and a great defense, that is a recipe for success.
And it was the recipe that took them all the way to the World Series in 2008. A great bullpen in 08. They've got a very good bullpen this year. Slipped back a notch last year, but maybe headed for the postseason here in 2010. B.J. Upton gets jammed, fights it off foul down the right side.
Dan, you talk about that recipe. B.J. Upton, a very key ingredient for that team in 2008, as well as I think will need to be this year if they're going to do something special.
A tough call with a guy like him, and he's not the only one, but obviously such a high draft pick, so much ability, but has rarely backed it up with the numbers that you would equate with his ability. He has had bursts here and there, including in the postseason. You know, you hate to be the team that gives up on the guy who's going to find it, but maybe find it for somebody else. There's no doubt that he's got the ability still to be a star.
One place he is a star, though, and with this team, it pays off, is in center field. He can really go get it, and when you throw Crawford next to him, Zobrist next to him.
Runner goes, pitch swung on and missed, and stealing it standing up is Bartlett.
That's the way it's got to be with 2 down. Basically stealing the bag, standing up, not even close, and Bartlett just about walked into third. Excellent read. Scherzer really locking in on the hitter, which the way he's been throwing the ball tonight, I think that's really what you have to do. He has strikeout stuff, so why not attack Upton and get him out of there?
Ooh. Amazing. Upton got out of the way of that.
That's attacking him. It's assaulting him. You're holding your ground, feeling pretty good at the plate, then whoop, right at the dome. Cat-like reflexes.
0-2 fastball from Scherzer that Laird wanted up, but Scherzer missed up and in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner at third. High again, 2-2.
Now he's showing him 2 pitches up and in. You know, if you're the hitter thinking with, you think at some point he's going to try and drop that slider down and away, or down and away off the plate.
He got him. Went with the slider to get Upton, and the inning is over. We're at the end of 5 with nothing but zeros.
Opulence. I has it. I like the best. This one. But I also like savings the money. So when DirecTV tell me 5 months free for most premium televisions package, I jump in it.
Forget cable. Switch to DirecTV and get 5 months free. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
The Craftsman cordless multi-tool. Remodel, regrout, restore, all repowered. Meet the hand tool, rethought. The power and versatility of 6 tools packed into one. More innovation, more great values. Craftsman, trust in your hands.
It started with 2 simple words.
And now it's time to join in. Announcing the Claim Your Mazda Summer Sales Event. Enjoy the high resale value of Mazda 3, Mazda 6, the driver's alternative to Camry, or the 7-passenger Mazda CX-9. All available with 0% APR financing for 60 months, plus no monthly payments until October 2010. So why compromise? Hurry in and claim your Mazda today.
As a manager, my team counts on me to stay focused, so I take One A Day Men's 50+ Advantage. It's the only complete multivitamin with ginkgo to support memory and concentration. Plus, it supports heart health. That's a hit. One A Day Men's.
Meet BK's newest employee, Tony Stewart.
Welcome to Burger King.
Can I have large fries?
Sure you don't want a smoky cheddar steakhouse XT? I can tell it's what you want. I can see it in your eyes.
The Smoky Cheddar Steakhouse XT, part of the XT line starting at $3.99. Only at BK.
ESPN Monday Night Baseball, presented by Vonage, is brought to you by Mazda. Zoom, zoom forever.
Welcome back to St. Petersburg, Florida. Dan Schulman, Chris Singleton, Aaron Boone. 6th inning. Tigers and Rays. No runs, no hits for either team thus far. Bottom third of the order for the Tigers, beginning with third baseman Don Kelly. And the count is 0-1. Matt Garza and Max Scherzer, both at times overpowering with their fastballs.
And right on cue, first pitch from Garza, a fastball up in the strike zone that a Tiger hitter not able to get a real good swing on.
A little tardy. Just like that one.
Yep. Kelly is hitting just over 200 since he has come up to the big leagues. He's at 210, can play the infield, can play the outfield. Hit a fly ball to left field his first time up.
Somebody in the dugout saying, swing now.
Breaking ball just misses outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's the big slow curveball that Garza will throw. He'll also throw, as we've seen tonight, more of a slider, a harder breaking ball. You think he'd probably go right back to that high fastball after showing him that breaking ball.
Breaking ball again, grounded up the middle. Bartlett to his left. 1 down. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Get over 100 live out-of-market games per week in HD quality where available on your computer. Visit MLB.TV for details. 1 down here in the Tigers' 6th. Now Gerald Laird, the catcher, comes up. He struck out his first time. I'm trying to think back. Has either team had a close call?
Worth hit the line drive that Zobrist made a great play on. In right field.
That's right.
Longoria's play on the line. 5-4-3 double play was excellent.
Rayborn hit a ball hard to shortstop. But for the most part, it's been obviously Scherzer and Garza have been on top of their game and absolutely been the story so far tonight.
Pitchers say things like, I didn't realize I had a no-hitter going to the 8th inning or the 9th inning. I mean, they're lying, right?
I think they're lying, but with pitchers, I'm not going to speak for a pitcher. You never know what those guys are thinking.
They're a different bunch, right?
They're a different bunch, but I think they're lying to you.
The 1-1 to Laird. Fly ball to center. Upton back with room. 2 down. Time now to take a look at tonight's big assist, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. It's a play the guys were just talking about. When Danny Worth was up in the 3rd inning, hit the ball well to right field. Ben Zobrist, a leaping grab.
Yeah, that first step in and over, had to really bend that route in order to get in position to make that catch, and it's a good recovery more than anything else. You also have the light bank for the right fielders here at Tropicana Field. You've got a light bank that really can come into play and make it hard on those in-between line drives, lower fly balls.
2 down in the inning. Here's the shortstop, Worth, the number 9 hitter in the Tiger lineup. Curveball for a strike.
But I think that Zobrist play really shows the athleticism of this Ray team. I mean, as I look down on that field right now, I see Longoria and Bartlett.
Another fly ball to right field. This one routine. And the inning is over. 6 no-hit innings for Matt Garza. Max Scherzer hasn't given up a hit. He's heading back out to the mound.
Air has no prejudice.
It does not carry the opinions of a man faster than those of a woman.
Does not filter out an idea because I'm 16 and not 30.
Air is unaware if I'm black
or white
and wouldn't care if it knew. So it stands to reason my ideas will be powerful
if they are wise, infectious, if they are worthy.
If my thoughts have flawless delivery, I can lead the army that will follow.
Rule the air. Verizon.
The new Panasonic Viera Full HD 3D TV. Immerse yourself in incredible depth and clarity thanks to fast-switching phosphors and Infinite Black Panel Pro.
Panasonic Plasma is the difference.
With 3D this lifelike, can we still call it a TV? Get these 2 Blu-ray 3D discs as a bonus when you buy any Panasonic 3D HD TV.
Get up, get moving.
Subway has breakfast.
And it's a slam dunk.
I like my breakfast sandwich with green peppers, onion, banana peppers, and mustard. I like eggs with Black Forest ham on wheat.
With everything.
I like a little kick. That's a good call.
I like mine with egg whites.
And?
A napkin.
Have you built your better breakfast? Now's the time. Try our better for you Western Egg White Muffin Melt or the delicious double bacon, egg, and cheese on toasty flatbread.
Subway, build your better breakfast.
The Dawson foul, tell me about it.
Yeah, the closing's in Boston.
Okay.
So get your game face on.
Guys never change. Neither do we. Jim Beam, the bourbon since 1795.
As Max Scherzer heads to the mound for the Tigers, bottom of the 6th inning, you can see your line score. None of our machines are broken here in the truck. There have been no hits in this game. No runs, no hits, no errors for both teams. Both teams have had base runners, but nobody has had a hit. Meanwhile, Alex Rodriguez looking for home run number 600. Let's send it back to Cindy Brunson.
Thanks so much, Dan. It is the Yankees and the Indians. 15 at-bats since A-Rod crushed home run number 599. Ken Singleton has the call at Progressive Field.
Facing a noted sinker baller, Jake Westbrook. Slider drops in for a call strike.
A good pitch. Alex Rodriguez went up his last at bat and got a first pitch sinker and was real aggressive. Westbrook counters, drops a nice little curveball for strike 1.
Tried another one. And that misses. 1 ball and 1 strikes. Fans reacting to the flashes going off as everybody's trying to capture an A-Rod moment here at the Progressive Field. 1-1 pitch way outside. Ball 2. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, Alex Rodriguez obviously has power to leave anywhere in this field, left field, center, or right. Always felt right field was real inviting. Doesn't have that big wall. See if Alex tries to stay on a sinker and drive it the other way.
Ground ball towards short. Cabrera gobbles it up and throws on the first for the second out here in the 7th inning. A-Rod hit a breaking ball.
Alex Rodriguez now homerless in his last 31 at-bats at Progressive Field since 2008. If he gets another opportunity at the plate, we'll take you there live. And, of course, they'll be talking about this on Baseball Tonight as well. Guys, back to you.
Cindy, thank you. They're definitely going to be talking about this game on a Baseball Tonight as well, given that neither Matt Garza nor Max Scherzer has given up a hit so far. While you were away watching Alex Rodriguez ground out, Max Scherzer struck out Kelly Shopping. Strikeout number 7 for Scherzer. So 1 down in the bottom of the 6th. The Rays batting in a scoreless game. Ben Zobrist 0 for 2. Scherzer has walked 2. Garza has walked 1. So the patch on the right sleeve of Scherzer, the tribute to Ernie Harwell, the Hall of Fame broadcaster, just legendary figure in Detroit, the state of Michigan, and beyond. And the Tigers will wear the patch for the duration of the season. Two and one the count on Zobrist. Change up for a strike. 2-2. Zobrist didn't like the call, and he's going to tell Ed Hickox that.
Look, when you're Scherzer and you've got kind of that funky delivery and a mid-90s fastball, and you're able to command your secondary pitches, especially behind in the count, it makes it very difficult as a hitter to deal with these pitches, as he tried to get Zobrist to chase a slider in the dirt there, but Zobrist able to lay off of it.
Now, one thing Scherzer had to learn coming over from the National League is that he couldn't just throw fastballs in there in fastball counts without any kind of life to them, because here in the American League, the hitters are ready to jump all over.
Ball 4.
Well, another walk there for Scherzer, but really the story that's characterized the night for Scherzer has been the strikeout, as you see him elevating with the mid-90s fastball. Able to go there, and it's so enticing. You see it well as a hitter, but you just can't square it up. You see here a little bit of a foul tip at times from these hitters as he breaks the slider in there. That's really not fair for the Rays hitters. It's not fair for anyone tonight as we see all the zeros on the scoreboard, but this is an outstanding pitching matchup so far, and Scherzer really adding to his resurgence, going to AAA, coming back and pitching well for this Tiger ball club in his first season with it.
Yeah, you could really see the life on those strikeouts on that fastball. I mean, just exploding in the zone, and then when you're able to command the slider down like that, good luck.
Throw over, and Zobrist back in. B.J. Upton walked in the third. He stole a base. Jason Bartlett walked in the fifth. He stole second and third. And Zobrist has some speed. 19 steals on the season. He's only been caught twice. Carl Crawford is the batter. This might be the toughest situation Scherzer's been in right now. Speed at first. Heart of the lineup coming up. Gerald Laird's going to go out and try to work things over with Scherzer.
And another reason I believe this Rays team is so dangerous in the playoffs, you talk about the 19 stolen base from Zobrist, and he's just one of many on this team that, look, in the playoffs, you've got to be able to win close games somehow. And you do that by pitching well, by catching the baseball, and by doing little things. And for the Rays, it's the running game.
Runner not going, and fouled back by Crawford, a ball and a strike.
It's kind of interesting to me, Aaron. You look at the Rays and how much they run, as you're mentioning. It's kind of like that MMA. You know, you got there's certain fighters, if they can get you on the ground, it's over. They're going to wear you out. Well, the Rays, if they can get you in the stretch, then all of a sudden they're off to the races. But also, many times pitchers have a little harder time in the stretch, that arm catching up. They're going to a slide step. A lot of variables, and that's when they really are like a shark in the water, are the Tampa Bay Rays.
Kind of reminds you a little bit of the Angels, 02, 03, 04. Not as much this year, but for several years, you could keep them down for a while, but sometimes it seemed all they needed was just get one guy on base, and then the hit and run, take the extra base, hit behind the runner. Then the Angels were able to play their style of baseball. The throw.
And you're right, and then it starts to affect everything else, not just the steal, but the threat of the steal. Like you said, speeding up deliveries of a pitcher, just being in the pitcher's mind. Now you affect the defense and move guys around defensively, and sometimes as a defender you may feel rushed. These are all things that are unintended consequences of having speed.
Now the back, 1-2 on Crawford, and we have catcher's interference. Gerald Laird got his glove in the way of that swing, so Crawford will get a base. It'll be charged as an error on the catcher Laird, and Zobrist will go to second.
Add to those consequences, you have a catcher reaching out just a little bit to get a little extra as far as his momentum. If the runner is going, coming out of that crouch, and that could be just a subtle difference. Now all of a sudden you got burners on the bases. And with this fast field turf, you hit one out in the gap, there's no question it gets down for a base hit if Carl Crawford will score or not.
Evan Longoria lays off the slider for ball one. You can really feel the buzz in the ballpark right now with two men on. The first time tonight either team has had two men on at the same time. Longoria the batter. We are still looking for the first hit of the game for either team. But Scherzer's in a jam.
And one thing that's starting to become an issue now with Scherzer here in the 6th inning at 87 pitches. That pitch count's going to start to become an issue.
Bartlett really wore him out in the 5th. Saw 12 pitches when he drew the walk. The slider down and away, ball two.
That's why sometimes an out can be a huge play in this game. You know, since Bartlett had that 12 pitch at bat, he's walked a hitter. He's fallen behind Longoria now. Obviously, the catcher's interference, it just doesn't seem quite as sharp as he's been all game long. And now all of a sudden you're facing a really dangerous hitter with a 2-0 count.
How about that 2-0 slider?
Well, that's to the point earlier that we talked about in fastball counts. Just can't automatically go to the fastball like he was able to in the National League. Has to flip something up there. And Longoria, who is becoming even more of an experienced hitter, surprised he wasn't sitting on that. It wasn't a bad pitch to hit, a little slider up in the zone, but looks like he's locking in on something straight or something fairly straight to do some damage with this situation.
Still a hitter's count at 2-1. 2 men on, 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Diving back into second base, Zobrist. Now this is pretty unusual stuff. Neither pitcher having given up a hit in the bottom of the 6th inning. Earlier this year, though, it went into the 7th inning, a Sunday night game on ESPN between the White Sox and Cubs. Gavin Floyd and Ted Lilly before the first hit of the game. Now 3 balls and a strike on Longoria.
And again, a great hitter's count here. But one thing Scherzer has going for him is he showed him a 2-0 slider. So Longoria can't afford to be as aggressive on the fastball with that in the back of his mind.
Got the fastball, and it's popped out of play off to the right, full count.
And right there, he got a pretty good fastball to hit, but because he planted that seed in his head with the slider behind in the count earlier, if you're Longoria there, it's in the back of your mind thinking, I'm on the fastball, but he still may flip me that slider, and I think consequently he was a little late on that fastball.
Fly ball and a strikeout for Longoria so far tonight. 3-2. Way inside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Two walks and an error. The error coming on a catcher's interference, charged as an error to Gerald Laird, have loaded the bases for Tampa Bay. The pitching coach Rick Knapp is on his way out to the mound. Remember, Jim Leland's been ejected from this game. He was kicked out back in the 3rd inning for arguing a play out at second base.
We'll see that Tigers bullpen start to stir a little bit. Guys getting up, moving around, shaking out the legs. Pitch count still not too high for Scherzer as to not be able to get through this inning, but he's got to make one big pitch here. He can get a ground ball, possibly get a double play, and get back in the dugout.
Remember, Edwin Jackson threw 149 pitches in his no-hitter earlier this year. He walked 8 guys. But Scherzer probably not thinking about that right now, just thinking about getting out of this inning without giving up any runs. Looking for a ground ball right at somebody off the bat of Carlos Pena. Zobrist at 3rd, Crawford at 2nd, Longoria at 1st, all of them with above average speed, and in the case of Crawford with blinding speed. Pena has struck out and grounded out tonight, but look at the power numbers. He's a threat.
And normally the extreme shift is on for Pena, but with the bases loaded here, the infielders are forced to straighten up a little bit more.
Ball 1.
Look here, normally in a normal situation, that second baseman would be out in short right field. The shortstop well over on the second base side of second. But with and Don Kelly, the third baseman, would be more where the shortstop is. But with the bases loaded, especially a man on third, you've got to straighten up a little bit more.
Hold foul, 1-1. He was out in front of the changeup.
Back-to-back changeups for Scherzer. Trying to keep Pena off balance so far. It's been a good pitch choice for Max Scherzer. If you look at Carlos Pena here, looked like he was poised for something big and just couldn't keep the hands back long enough to hit that ball hard and in fair play.
Activity now in the Tiger pen. Scherzer in a jam. Bases loaded, 1 out. Swing and a miss at a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, 1-2.
Right there, that's one of the good things that all these off-speed pitches have been able to set up this. When he does cut loose that fastball, especially up in the zone right there to a left-handed hitter, that's a very hard pitch to catch up to, especially in the mid-90s, and when you have such respect for his secondary pitches that have been so effective for him tonight.
Way high, 2-2. It's right-hander Robbie Weinhardt, who is up now in the Tiger pen. Not often you see a guy warming up in the 6th inning of a potential no-hitter, but the pitch count is up. The inning has been a difficult one for Scherzer. The Rays have the bases loaded. There's no benefit of a big lead. The Tigers haven't done anything against Matt Garza, who seemingly has been resting forever in that first base dugout. The 2-2. Inside at the bell to full count.
It's the ball game right here, quite possibly, the way Garza's been pitching. If Scherzer doesn't make his pitch, as we look here, to Pena just inside, according to the K-zone. Carlos has seen everything in this at-bat, except for the slider, I believe. A couple of change-ups, 83, 84, and then he went +12 with the fastball to 96. Will it be hammer time?
Got him. Pena swings through a high fastball, 2 down.
Well, he gets him, finishes him off with the high fastball. And we see how he attacked him. Started him off with the changeup off the plate. Another changeup that Pena was out in front of. A fastball. Another fastball up and out of the zone. A fastball in just off the plate, and 3-2. You think sell out on the fastball, but because these hitters have such respect for his secondary pitches tonight, you can't sell out completely on the heater. And when it's at 95 and up in the zone, it makes it a really tough pitch to handle.
98 pitches already through 5 2/3 for Max Scherzer. He has walked 4, 2 of them this inning. The batter now, Matt Joyce, the designated hitter. Former Tiger. He is 0 for 2. And he takes low ball 1.
Another changeup there to start off. Another Rays left-handed hitter.
Time called as the ball got away from the Tigers bullpen and rolled down the line. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning here at Tropicana Field. Monday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Vonage. Dan Schulman, Chris Singleton, Aaron Boone. A double no-hitter right now in the bottom of the 6th. But the bases are loaded with 2 outs for the Rays. The 1-0 from Scherzer. Bounced foul to the backstop, 1-1. Matt Garza is the Tampa Bay pitcher tonight. He's been absolutely outstanding through 6 innings. He has walked 1. That's it. And that runner was erased on a double play. Some Tiger fans down here in Florida in support of Scherzer. And a couple of ready relievers should Scherzer not be able to get out of this. No hit bid or not.
The one good thing, if you're the Rays right now, even if you don't score this inning, you've gotten Scherzer's pitch count up to a point to where he's probably not going to be able to go much deeper into this game. And you're dealing with a Tigers team that's a little depleted in the bullpen, coming off a doubleheader yesterday.
3-1. That was his 30th pitch of the inning. A walk forces in a run.
Interesting here because we've seen him go to off-speed pitches and sort of fastball counts, but you walk the hitter, you walk in a run, or you take a chance and feed the fastball up there. I say you got to go with your fastball right here for Scherzer.
Down the right field line, but a hooking foul. Batted choice. Amazing about this inning as well. 31 pitches now, 6 batters. Nobody's put the ball in play. 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, and catcher's interference.
Wow, that fastball really down the heart of the plate. Shows you that Joyce's swing kind of comes around the baseball. And for me, Aaron, you see that path to the ball, you got to stay inside.
Yeah, and I think it speaks a lot to, again, the respect that these hitters have for the off-speed pitches, to where they can't sell out completely on the fastball like they'd like to. And maybe you don't have the best swing where normally you would be.
Deep to right field. A grand slam for Matt Joyce. The first hit of the ball game for either team produces 4 runs.
Well, Matt Joyce, the local boy, makes good against his former club.
A strike taken by Jason Bartlett. Matt Garza's got a little cushion now.
When we talked about going inside to Matt Joyce, he'd seen that pitch one too many times, got him earlier, breaking his bat as he pulled it foul, and another really down the heart of the plate, and Joyce was timed up perfectly for him. Got the distance, Aaron. He knows that. He's just stay straight.
Stay straight.
Now Looper into center field, a base hit for Bartlett. And you'd have to think Scherzer's not long for this game right now.
You look at how well he's pitched to this point, Aaron, and that's just a heartbreaker right there.
Yeah, and that was the first pitch in a situation where he's gone deep into the count, where he threw a center cut and was unable to elevate the baseball for one of their left-handed hitters. And that was the happy zone for a left-handed hitter, and Joyce did not miss it.
Lloyd McClendon, the acting manager, with the ejection earlier tonight of Jim Leland, is out to the mound. Scherzer's night is done. Tampa Bay leading 4-0.
The before, the swagger, the flow, the B vitamins and carbs to ignite, the expectation, the destiny, the during, the statement, the struggle, the hustle, the toll, the fuel to perform, the original Gatorade. The athlete, the cheer, the gratitude, the resolve, the electrolytes to hydrate, the protein to recover. Introducing the G Series from Gatorade. Prime, perform, recover.
There's always a lot of good things happening in your community. Big things and little things. And the people of Citgo are inspired by the good we see around us every day. So we do our part. You do your part. And one good turn leads to another. Then everyone becomes a part of something bigger. Join us at fuelinggood.com. Your locally owned Citgo. There at every turn.
Keep it on ESPN for more Major League action Wednesday and Sunday, 7 Eastern on a Wednesday night. Presented by Captain Morgan. It'll be the St. Louis Cardinals and the New York Mets. And at 8 Eastern on Sunday. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. It's the Dodgers and the Giants. Major League Baseball on ESPN and ESPN3.com this Wednesday and Sunday. It started great. It ended ugly for Max Scherzer. Took a no-hitter into the 5th inning, got the pitch count up, walked a couple of batters, a catcher's interference, and then the grand slam by Matt Joyce. Responsible for Bartlett at first. Reed Brignac, the hitter. Left-hander Brad Thomas is the reliever for Detroit. Thomas, a guy who pitched in Korea the last couple of years. Born in Australia. 32 years of age, pitched a little bit for Minnesota a few years back, but in the majors this year for the first time since 2004. And a strike.
And Thomas, a guy with very good stuff, a low mid-90s fastball. We just saw the slider there, and a guy that's become very reliable for this club. He's done a very nice job for them in middle relief. And with Zumaya going down, he's been one of the guys that has stepped up and been a contributor to this bullpen.
Well, guys, the age-old question, how does this affect Matt Garza? He's got a no-hitter going. It's been 24 minutes since he threw a pitch.
And what we've seen, he's been there in the dugout. I think he has to go out and continue to be aggressive, attack hitters. But more than anything, you're looking at the win. Sure, the no-hitters sort of in the back of everyone's mind, probably not his mind, but they're looking at a W. And for him, after his team scores these runs, you got to go out, attack the hitters, put up a 0. I think that's got to be the primary focus.
And I think the first hitter he faces will tell us a lot, because he's been in such a good rhythm, working quick, getting ahead in the count. So he's going to want to go out there and really attack early and find that good rhythm, because no question about it, this time off can affect something.
You got to give the Rays a ton of credit, especially the last 2 innings, for all the foul balls, just fighting off pitch after pitch. And it may be the turning point for Scherzer was just getting worn out by Jason Bartlett in the 5th inning. That 12-pitch at bat wound up in a walk. He got out of that inning, then he walked 2 more this inning and eventually surrendered the grand slam to Matt Joyce. Inning over. But the Scherzer no-hitter is over. Scherzer's out of the game. Matt Joyce with a 2-out grand slam. Kept it just fair down the right field line. Electrified the crowd here and has given the Rays a 4-0 lead.
Signal. Airborne, beautiful, and strong. There to ensure the most powerful transmitter is you. Rule the air.
Conventional automotive frames absorb energy. But this one does more. It collapses in some areas while staying rigid in others to help redirect energy around the cabin and away from you. The ACE body structure in the Acura MDX. The most innovative thinking you'll find in an Acura.
Want to learn how to play golf? Play with old guys. These raisins put it down the middle every time.
Pipe it, baby.
Hold this. They used to take our money, but ever since Terry here slowed down my swing, I've adjusted to a more mature game. And I'm taking back some of that cheese.
156.
Oh, yeah.
Waking up with morning pain can drain the energy right out of you. Fight it with new Bayer AM. It combines extra strength Bayer aspirin to treat pain, plus an alertness aid to help you get off to a running start. Try Bayer AM, the morning pain reliever.
They said it couldn't be done.
It can't be done.
A banana split you can eat with a straw. Arby's Indulgent Strawberry Banana Split Shake with a luscious chocolate swirl and topped with diced strawberries.
They can do it. I cannot.
The Strawberry Banana Split Shake, only at Arby's.
ESPN Monday Night Baseball is presented by Vonage. Tropicana Field here in St. Petersburg, the home of the Rays. They've got a 4-0 lead on the Matt Joyce grand slam off Max Scherzer in the bottom of the 6th. Back to the mound. Remember him, Matt Garza. It's been a while. About 27 minutes since he threw a pitch. He is working on a no-hitter into the 7th. He's allowed 1 walk. That's it. Has struck out 3 and has faced the minimum thanks to a double play ball that erased the walk. So it's the top of the order. Austin Jackson. And Garza misses high for the 2nd time in a row. It's 2-0.
If you're the hitter here, you got to be patient, especially the leadoff guy, Austin Jackson. He's had a long layoff as Matt Garza. First couple pitches up, wait him out, make him throw strike 1 before you start swinging. Try to peck away. That's a
strike.
Aaron, I'm mad if I'm a hitter right there. He throws 2 up. You can't give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. Borderline high strike. Come on.
He's zeroed in again now. 2-2.
That one pitch seems to have locked him right back in, as that was that good downhill, as you like to say, Singy, late life in the zone fastball right there, and that was right by a good fastball hitter in Austin Jackson.
Just outside, another fastball, and the count is full.
Amazing how quickly an at-bat can change. Quickly 2-0, and then within 15 seconds it's 2-2, and you find yourself having to expand the plate. That's a great take by Austin Jackson, the rookie, showing some nice plate discipline there.
3-2. High fly ball to center field. Playable for B.J. Upton. 1 down. This is the deepest into a game that Matt Garza has ever taken a no-hitter. The Rays, of course, are used to being on the other end of these kinds of things. They already this year have been on the wrong end of 2 no-hitters, one of them a perfect game, plus a perfect game last year at their expense.
That's hard to do. Be as good as the Rays are and get no hit like that.
Breaking ball high. And we've talked about this Detroit lineup, all the injuries they've had. Brandon Inge, Carlos Guillen, and Maglio Ordonez. So this is a depleted lineup. Here's Will Rhymes, who's only got a couple of days of big league experience. But anybody here capable of breaking this up? Garza falls behind again, 2-0. Only 3 teams have gone without a no-hitter in their franchise's history. Of course, the Mets and Padres have had a lot longer shot at it than the Rays have. Locks back in with a strike, 2-1.
Amazing to think the Mets have never had a no-hitter with all the great pitchers they've had in their franchise history, and no-hit guys, and Nolan Ryan and Seaver, and Doc Gooden, on and on.
Down the left field line, but foul, 2-2.
Really just shows you, although we've gotten spoiled by him this year, how hard it really is to throw a no-hitter. The fact that the Proud Met franchise has gone, what's that, 48 years? It's pretty amazing.
The 2-2 to Rhymes. Down and in.
And the The Mets should get closer to that, Aaron, with that pitcher's ballpark they're in right now. They just need the guy. Santana has been the guy, very capable. Stuff not as sharp as it's been in previous seasons.
Ground ball to second. Brignac, 2 down. So we had a double no-hitter into the bottom of the 6th. We've still got 1 no-hit bid going here in the top of the 7th. Here are all the no-hitters against the Tampa Bay franchise, including a perfect game by Mark Burley last year, a perfect game by Dallas Braden earlier this year, and then a no-hitter by Edwin Jackson just a month ago. Johnny Damon, the batter. In the air to right center field. Playable. Upton, inning over. 7th inning stretch at Tropicana Field.
It's the Fusion Pro Glide Challenge. Woo! Hey man, how you doing? How's your shave?
Kind of like tugging and pulling.
See how shaving can cause irritating tug and pull?
That's why Gillette's introducing the revolutionary new Fusion Pro Glide.
It glides, like literally.
Now Fusion Pro Glide has been engineered with Gillette's thinnest blades ever, so it glides for less tug and pull. Turns shaving into gliding and skeptics into believers. New Fusion Pro Glide. And warm up before you shave for incredible comfort with new Pro Series Thermal Scrub.
You know, my brothers and I got our families together at Olive Garden the other night.
Pass a breadstick to your favorite uncle. Oh, we had a ball.
Try our new Parmesan polenta crusted dishes with chicken breasts or steak medallions, both with our 4-cheese ravioli and creamy Alfredo at Olive Garden.
Like summer, it's here, but not forever. The Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. See your Lexus dealer.
The Dawson foul. Tell me about it.
Yeah, the closing's in Bob. Step.
Okay.
So get your game face on.
Guys never change. Neither do we. Jim Beam, the bourbon since 1795.
Give yourself an edge. New One-A-Day Men's Pro Edge. A complete multivitamin with more magnesium to help support healthy muscle function. More B vitamins to help convert food to fuel. More confidence in a healthy you. New One-A-Day Men's Pro Edge.
With deposits in your engine, it can feel like something's holding your car back.
Let me guess, 16. Yeah.
That's why there's Castrol GTX, with superior protection against harmful deposit buildup. Don't let deposits hold your car back. Get Castrol GTX. It's more than just oil. It's liquid engineering.
Hey, tomorrow night on E60, tomorrow night at 7 Eastern Time, an exclusive interview. Our Michael Smith sits down with Tampa Bay Rays all-star pitcher David Price. That's one of the stories on E60 tomorrow night, presented by Ford. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Bottom of the 7th, 4-0 the Rays over the Tigers. Enrique Gonzalez is the new reliever for Detroit. Gonzalez making his 12th appearance of the season. Fastball up and into B.J. Upton. Upton has walked and stolen a base, and he has also struck out. There have been 2 hits in this game. A grand slam by Matt Joyce in the 6th inning, and then a bloop single right after that by Jason Bartlett. That's it. So we got some drama building for Matt Garza here tonight. Upton takes up and away.
Well, normally you'd think this game was just flying through, but what's been key, as you guys mentioned earlier, were just the at-bats by some of the Rays batters, fouling off pitches, seeing a lot of pitches, extending those at-bats.
I'm curious at this point in the dugout. Tampa Bay's a pretty loose group, guys. I mean, you both have spent a lot of time with these guys. Are they talking to Garza? He's sitting right in the middle of them right now. He's not. They're not avoiding him. He's not avoiding them.
Well, from what I understand, having been around Garza and talked to him, got to know him a little bit, he'd be the type of guy that would say, hey, if I'm ever throwing a no-hitter, don't move away from me. Stay where you're at. Just keep it normal. I'm focused on pitching and winning. That's the mentality that he seems to have, the impression that's been made on me.
Strike 3 called to get Upton for the first out here in the bottom of the 7th. Let's check in with Cindy Brunson.
Thanks so much, Dan. 7th inning stretch. This update presented by our friends at StarCraft 2, the video game. Yankees-Indians top 8 with one aboard. It's Curtis Granderson, his 10th home run of the season. A-Rod 0 for 3 with a strikeout, still sitting on 599 career home runs. Granderson deep, Swisher deep, so home runs being hit, just not by A-Rod. Guys, back to you.
All right, Cindy, the only one here being hit by Matt Joyce, but what a home run it was, accounting for all the runs in this game. Kelly Shopik is the batter.
Gonzalez, primarily fastball slider pitcher. We saw some good sliders that he threw Upton, and a good one to freeze him down and away on the outside corner, much like Scherzer did last time.
Towering fly ball down the left field line, and it winds up foul deep down the line. Can't take anything for granted in this ballpark because of the catwalks and all the crazy bounces you can get.
You're well versed on the ground rules. I know. I heard you talking about it earlier.
I'm reasonably well versed on the ground rules. I would defer to a guy who actually played in this ballpark should we have a situation, you know, if maybe an outfielder who could really, who's got to be well versed on the rules here at Tropicana Field.
The inner rings.
Yeah.
It's comes in, hits, comes down, you play it. And the outer rings are home runs, as long as they're fair.
If they're foul, it's a dead ball.
Which, you know, have fun, umpires. With you see those foul poles, those faint yellow lines up there. They have their work cut out for them. But unfortunately, you don't see a whole lot of balls that hit off of the inner rings. Maybe that third ring is something that you see. But fortunately, I didn't have to worry about that on either end, defensively or offensively. I can't hit the ball that high, Aaron.
2 down in the bottom of the 7th. Ben Zobrist looks at a strike. Tampa Bay leading Detroit 4-0. The big story, Matt Garza, 7 no-hit innings thus far. Did you guys play in a major league no-hitter? Were you behind a pitcher? Did you play on a team where your pitcher threw a no-hitter?
I did not.
I don't think so either.
No, and fortunately never got no-hit either.
Kelly bounces it over and in time to get Zobrist and end the inning. Garza will have to face arguably the most dangerous hitter in all of baseball, leading off the 8th inning into Miguel Cabrera.
It was just gigantic.
It was humongous. Enormous, huge bill.
That's actually when we switched to Vonage.
The service is great. I don't see any difference with the call quality. More, I can just pick up the phone, call
as many family members as I want. Ugh, why did I not do this earlier? I'm Laura Pruden, and this was my last bill
before I switched to Vonage.
Sign up for Vonage World and get your first month of service free with unlimited domestic and international calls. Go to Vonage.com or call now.
With Denny's new 2, 4, 6, 8 value menu, you can get 16 different wallet-pleasing meals for $2, $4, $6, and $8 all day, every day. And now you can choose from 3 new sizzling skillets starting at just $3.99.
Sound like refreshment? Not to me. I hear a cry for help, begging for the ridiculous flavor of Captain Morgan Lime Bite. Bite this, brochacho. Try Captain Morgan Lime Bite. Drink responsibly.
During the Autobahn for All event, you can get a great deal on a Volkswagen. Sounds terrific. Car's built for the Autobahn. Actually, we're both pretty conservative drivers, so.
Oh, shoot the gap! Shoot the gap!
So do they all come with carefree maintenance? Yep, scheduled maintenance is included.
I like the color.
Good.
The Autobahn for All event. Lease the Jetta Limited Edition for $199 a month or get 0% APR.
In baseball, fireballers become great legends. Pitchers who light up the crowd and the radar gun. Now, rookie Steven Strasburg has ignited the return of precision and power, sparking a fever pitch wherever he goes.
There's mystique about the flamethrower.
And whenever he throws.
Steven Strasburg, 14 strikeouts, including 7 in a row.
This is beyond heat. This is beyond baseball.
ESPN Monday Night Baseball is presented by Vonage. Sounds good.
Top of the 8th inning here at Tropicana Field. Dan Shulman, Chris Singleton, Aaron Boone with you. Matt Garza takes a no-hitter into the 8th inning. He walked one batter, Brennan Bosch, back in the 2nd. That's it. He faces Miguel Cabrera to begin the 8th. A guy who's a Triple Crown threat. A guy who is as dangerous a hitter as there is in a baseball right now. That was the 91st pitch of the night for Garza. Curveball for a strike, 0-2.
Wow. And we saw last inning with the long layoff, he came out and fell behind the first 2 hitters. A quicker inning last time. He looks like he's fallen right back into rhythm. A good fastball and a good curveball to start off Cabrera.
Cabrera lays off. Garza tried to get him to chase that up and away fastball as he did back in the 2nd inning when he struck him out. He also got Cabrera to hit a fly ball to center field in the 5th. Garza with 3 strikeouts tonight. The 1-2 in the dirt.
There was the harder breaking ball, the slider, if you will, that he tried to get Cabrera to chase. But what he's done by throwing all his pitches now, you'd think Shopik's going to want to try and attack him back up and in.
He got some hard stuff.
Yeah.
Attacked him real strongly inside the first at bat.
He's going away.
Got a piece.
I think that was a little better pitch than Garza would have liked. I think he was trying to stick that thing down and away and leap back out over the plate a little bit, but as good as his stuff's been tonight, Cabrera unable to put it in play with authority.
To left field and caught by Crawford for the first out.
That's one of those that's going to take your head off. Probably had a little knuckle on it as you see Crawford, and also the left fielder. As I mentioned earlier, the right fielder battles a light bank. The left fielder does as well, and that's just a recipe for disaster when a big man like Miguel Cabrera hits it, coming out there knuckling, and that ball sort of catches you as you see it pull Crawford's glove away from him as it goes in the webbing.
Brennan Bosch is the batter. The rookie outfielder is the only Tiger to reach base tonight. He walked back in the 2nd and then was erased on a double play ball, so Garza has faced the minimum. Bosch having an outstanding rookie season, hitting over 300 with power. Foul to back.
We saw that last pitch, a great pitch by Garza, but what a good hitter Cabrera is. And I guarantee you, knowing the intelligence of Cabrera, he sensed them coming back in there and put a great swing on a well executed pitch by Garza, unfortunately for Cabrera, right at Crawford.
The 1-1 to Bosch. Fights it off. 1-2. The longest no-hit bid any pitcher in Tampa Bay history has had. 7 2/3 innings. It's been done twice. DeJuan Brazelton in 2004. Tony Saunders back in '99. That guy, David Price, certainly is a threat to have a no-hitter at some point in his career. And tonight, Matt Garza is at the top of his game. The 1-2. Grounded foul on that good curveball again. And Garza may be breaking out a little superstition here, getting late into a no-hit bid. Although if you weren't with us earlier, he's not avoiding his teammates. His teammates don't appear to be avoiding him at all in the dugout between innings. All eyes on him on the mound right now. Bosch lays off the high fastball.
Oh, he's got a lot going to his repertoire outside of just the pitches he throws. You see him sitting in the dugout, shaking the legs, shaking the fingers, making you think that something's possibly wrong, shaking the glove as he comes up and takes the sign. Make a cup of coffee nervous.
Here's the 2-2. Away with a fastball, a full count. Over 100 pitches now for Matt Garza. Crowd didn't like it. It was easily outside, but of course everybody here so into this game they've never seen a no-hitter for a Tampa Bay pitcher. And if you weren't with us earlier, Max Scherzer had a no-hitter for the Tigers until the bottom of the 6th. Matt Joyce broke it up with a grand slam. Full count pitch. Got him. Strike 3 called, it looked like, from the way Ed Hickox rings up Brennan Bosch.
And I think Bosch thought he had worked another walk off of Garza as he lays off that pitch at the top of the zone and a little off the plate. And I think that was caught Bosch off guard, and I think understandably so. That was a little bit off the plate and at the top of the zone, not a pitch usually called a strike.
Ryan Rayburn, the batter.
And now Garza's gotten through the tough middle part of the order, and now with all the injuries, normally you'd be coming into Inge and Carlos Guillen and guys like that. Not the case with this depleted Tiger club.
Slider, a swing and a miss, quickly 0-2 on Rayburn.
You hear pitchers talk about how they found their breaking ball later in the game. That is the case for Garza tonight. Earlier on, get me over, but now it's put them away. Breaking balls in this 8th inning.
Trying to elevate the fastball. Rayburn got a piece.
Good execution by Garza to elevate that fastball with 2 strikes just out of the zone, but a pretty good swing by Rayburn to fight it off, and actually almost got a good enough piece of it to put it in play.
Again the 0-2. Breaking ball, swing and a miss, and the inning is over. 8 no-hit innings for Matt Garza. 4-0 Tampa Bay leads. Let's send it back to the studio now again and join Cindy Brunson.
Thanks so much, Dan. We're going to take you back to Progressive Field. Yankees, Indians. New York has a 3-2 lead, and Alex Rodriguez is stepping back to the plate. He's 0 for 3 on the night with a strikeout, sitting on 599 career home runs.
That, by the way, goes as a strikeout and a wild pitch that allows a switcher to get the second. There's the box of the special balls. A-Rod tonight is struck out. He's lined it to a double play and grounded to short. He's 0 for 3. Perez deals, and the pitch is high and inside, and there go the flashes. Most at bats between 599 and 600. Willie Mays, the great Hall of Famer, 21. Ken Griffey Jr. with 17. A-Rod now with 16 at bats. Breaking ball is in for a call strike, and it's 1-1.
Oh, good pitch from Perez. Throws so hard, and you get a fastball count. He drops a nice little slider on Alex Rodriguez. You can see he doesn't pick it up. Has a little bit of flinch. A lot of flash bulbs going off with each pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball is popped up to the right side. Second baseman Donald is called up by Laporta, who makes the catch. They had a bit of a collision there. It looked like Donald was calling it off, but Laporta said, no, I'm not giving it up. So there are 2 down, and A-Rod is 0 for 4.
Alex Rodriguez now homerless in his last 32 at-bats at Progressive Field since 2008. He's chasing 600 home runs career. His Yankees on top 3-2. They're 15-5 in the month of July. Back to Dan and the guys.
So Alex Rodriguez hoping to make a little history tonight. Maybe he won't, but maybe Matt Garza will here at Tropicana Field. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Crawford, Longoria, and Pena for the Rays. Gonzalez back on the mound for the Tigers. But this bottom half of this inning is just to build the anticipation and make everybody wait a little bit longer until Garza comes back out for the top of the 9th. key play in this game was when Crawford was batting in the 6th. A catcher's interference call on Gerald Laird. And Crawford, given a first base, extended the inning. 2 batters later, Matt Joyce hit a grand slam. Jackson's got to turn, and he'll watch it go. Crawford lines a home run to straightaway center field. 5-0 Rays.
Now that was an absolute laser. In the 4th inning, he hit a ball very deep to center field. This one looked to be down in the zone, and the path to the baseball was just so direct. A low line drive that got up in the air. Excellent backspin. And that's the tough poke. The center field in this ballpark, the ball just doesn't carry very well there, but that shows you how strong Carl Crawford really is.
Matt Garza waiting, enjoying another run. Now 5-0 as Evan Longoria steps in. He's flied out, struck out, and walked and scored. Just the 3rd hit of the game for the Rays. And we would imagine again people continue to tune in as they hear one way or the other a no-hit bid is going here. This was a double no-hit bid until the bottom of the 6th inning. The first hit of the game was a grand slam for Matt Joyce, the former Tiger. He's the DH tonight. And now it's 5-0 Tampa Bay, bottom 8. No Rays pitcher has ever thrown a no-hitter. One of only 3 franchises without one. Padres and Mets, the other 2. Rhymes fires on to first to get a Longoria 1 down. Every no-hit bid, it seems, has at least one terrific defensive play behind that pitcher. And this ball off the bat of Danny Wirth in the 3rd inning. Ben Zobrist is about 6'4", and thank goodness for that. If he's 6'2", he doesn't have a chance on that play. And what's impressive about him, guys, he plays second, he plays right, he plays center. Whatever they need him to do, he does. And he made a terrific play.
Well, in spring training, I remember Joe Madden when I asked him about Ben Zobrist, and he was really impressed the way that Zobrist played center field when he had some games out there. Obviously, B.J. Upton is their center fielder, but he's a super utility player.
Pena with a bouncer to Cabrera. He'll feed Gonzalez for out number 2. As baseball fans know, this has been the year of the pitcher, and more evidence of that. 4 no-hitters already this season. 2 of them perfect games with Aldo Jimenez, Dallas Braden, Roy Halladay, Edwin Jackson, all with no-hitters for Braden and Halladay. Perfect games. Garza has walked 1 tonight, although he's faced the minimum. That runner was erased on a double play. But just incredible to think that this could be the 5th no-hitter already this season. And again, that doesn't count what Armando Galarraga did for the Tigers. Here's Matt Joyce, the man who got it started offensively with the first hit of the game, that grand slam in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Here was the grand slam earlier in the ball game. Scherzer missed down and out over the plate to the left-hander, and Joyce able to keep it just fair, and that looks to be the backbreaker in this game so far.
Oh, and 2 the count on Joyce. And the inning is over. 5-0 Tampa Bay. The bottom of the order for the Tigers is due up in the 9th. Matt Garza is 3 outs away from a no-hitter.
Premiering this weekend on DirecTV Cinema.
We dare not risk angering the gods further. Someone must take a stand. This is suicide.
Clash of the Titans. Movies playing on channels 125 through 199.
Who is the best lightweight in the world?
Big left hook by Diaz. Marquez in trouble. Marquez trying to counter again. It's an all-out war.
They rocked the boxing world. Now they're ready to do it again. Don't miss Juan Manuel Marquez and Juan Diaz in the fight of the year.
Down goes Diaz!
The rematch. Marquez Diaz 2. Saturday, July 31st. Live on DirecTV Pay-Per-View Channel 123.
Pitchers going head-to-head. Interesting decisions have to be made now.
And he's starting to pitch well now, even though he's only 2-2. Big game pitcher, tough competitor. But from a teammate's point of view is that when he takes the mound, he's going to make the other team beat him.
I don't know what that is. You lost me.
And here we go. I'm John Miller with Joe.
Chips, man.
And this is ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
The Dawson foul, tell me about it.
Yeah, the closings in Boston.
Okay.
So get your game face on.
Guys never change. Neither do we. Jim Beam, the bourbon since 1795.
Our Tuesdays are crazy, so we rely on Pizza Hut's Tuscany pasta.
Only on Tuesday, any family-sized Tuscany pasta is just $10. That's over 3 pounds of lasagna, chicken Alfredo, or meaty marinara for $10. Only on Tuesdays and only at your Pizza Hut.
And we are back for the top of the 9th inning here at Tropicana Field with Matt Garza of the Tampa Bay Rays 3 outs away from a no-hitter. The only blemish tonight, a 1-out walk to Brennan Bosch in the second. Bosch erased on a double play. Garza has faced the minimum. That means he will face the 7, 8, 9 hitters in the injury-depleted Tiger lineup here in the 9th. Beginning with third baseman Don Kelly, a rookie who is 0 for 2. And a foul back for strike 1.
If you remember in the last at-bat that Don Kelly had a swing just like that late on the fastball, but Garza went to some breaking balls, almost made a mistake and allowing a base hit up the middle. I think he's got to keep pumping that heater because we've seen that Kelly's a little late on it.
Fastball outside, 1 ball and 1 strike after Kelly. The scheduled hitter is Gerald Laird. And then it would be the number 9 hitter, Danny Worth. There's Laird in the on-deck circle. 1-1 fastball up and away for ball 2. Garza is at 110 pitches on the night. Rays fans hoping they're about to witness in person the first no-hitter ever thrown by a Tampa Bay pitcher. Inside, ball 3. Garza appeared to get one favorable call to strike out Brennan Bosch in the 8th. Did not get the call that he wanted on that 2-1 pitch, so it's 3 balls and a strike. Popped up, foul territory, back out of play on the third base side.
And he still has plenty on that fastball as we sit here over the 110 pitch mark. A 3-1 pitch there that Kelly, really a decent pitch to hit, but didn't get a great swing on it just because of that late life downhill fastball that Garza's had working for him all night long.
3-2. Ground ball to second. Brignac for out number 1.
Nice job of Garza bouncing back after the 3-1 count. Sure, he could have walked him and have kept the no-hitter intact, but you want to record those outs and keep yourself in the windup rather than having to get into the stretch.
Especially when much of the night you've been out of that windup.
Now Gerald Laird, the catcher, a strikeout and a fly ball. 1 down in the 9th. And a swing and a foul back, 0-1.
Continues to tack the high part of that strike zone with that good fastball. And Laird had a pretty good cut on it, but was unable to get to center it enough to put it in play.
You saw Ramon Santiago on deck to pinch hit for Danny Worth. He went, says Ed Hickox, the home plate umpire. Didn't even ask. He just made the call himself, and the count is 0-2.
I don't mind that at all, Aaron. Open it up a little bit as an umpire. Guy being this close. Now that was, he checked his swing on that one. I'm pretty bad if I'm the hitter, but
if I'm the hitter, I need at least a peel out of that.
Didn't get the fastball up as high as Kelly Shopik wanted it.
Well, Laird's had a couple of decent hacks on that fastball. I wouldn't be surprised to actually see Garza go back to that breaking ball out of the zone at some point in the next pitch or two.
Again, the 0-2. Got him. 2 down.
Look at that. Nothing better than that. Your fellow starting pitchers over there bouncing and cheering for you.
1 out away. A small but very noisy crowd of just over 17,000 here at Tropicana Field. Ramon Santiago is the pinch hitter. Breaking ball in the dirt for ball 1.
And Santiago, make no mistake about it, is a very tough little hitter. Puts the ball in play, has a good eye at the plate. A very capable hitter in this spot.
The 1-0. Fastball fouled back, 1-1. You guys have talked about it. If he's lost anything on the fastball over the course of the game, it's not much.
No, it hasn't. And what the key has been, he's been at the top of the strike zone with it. If he brings that down a little bit in the strike zone, it's a more hittable pitch. But he's been effective up.
The 1-1. Up, fly ball, right field, and he's done it. Matt Garza has thrown a no-hitter. The first no-hitter in Tampa Bay history. Incredibly, the 5th no-hitter thrown this season. 2 of them against Tampa Bay. Now finally one of them by a Tampa Bay Ray. Matt Garza allows just 1 base runner tonight. A 1-out walk to Brennan Bosch in the 2nd inning. Faces the minimum because of the double play ball. And he's got himself a no-hitter.
And 0-2, he went to the bread and butter that's been working for him all night long, the high fastball that Ramon Santiago is able to get enough of to put in play, but off the trademark, and the celebration is on. And you talk about how excited Matt Garza must be, but equally you see his fellow rotation mates and all his teammates probably just as tickled to be a part of it.
Tickled for several reasons. One, because they care so much about this guy as they do all their teammates, but also it's finally happened to somebody else. We get to celebrate. We've watched so many as we've sat in our dugout. Now they get to be on the field and bouncing around, and Garza is so much of the personality of this ball club. A guy coming over from the Minnesota Twins. They had to harness some of his emotion out there on the mound, and he has matured in a Tampa Bay Rays uniform and really coming to a height in his career tonight.
From the moment the game began, you guys talked about it. He was aggressive. He overpowered with his fastball. He attacked the strike zone. And Matt Garza has thrown a no-hitter, his first, the first in Tampa Bay Rays history, the 5th no-hitter thrown this season. And what excitement for the folks here at the Trop. And Matt joining us from field level. Matt, Dan Shulman, Aaron Boone, Chris Singleton. Congratulations. Can you put into words what's going through your mind right now?
Not really. You know, it's one of those days where everything lined up. You know, defense made great plays. You know, I really can't say enough about them. Hold on.
A little out of breath still from all the excitement, huh?
Yeah, just a little. No, the defense made great plays, and what can I say? You know, that guy on the other side put up a one hell.
There it is.
Now, you knew that was coming. Who was it, Longoria?
Yep, Longoria.
That was Longoria, in case you're taking numbers.
Oh, I'll take that.
Stings a little bit. It's worth it, huh?
I'll take many more.
Matt, Aaron Boone here. Congratulations. Looked like you went to the breaking ball a little more the second part of the game, but it looked like early on you really wanted to establish that fastball and did a really good job of establishing it up in the strike zone.
Well, that's where I've had most of my success is with my fastball. You know, the breaking balls, you know, yeah, they're there, but I've had most of my success this year with my fastball. The guy behind the plate putting the numbers down did one hell of a job, too.
Hey, Matty, congratulations. At what point in this ball game did you feel like you had something special and that you could make it through the finish line?
That 9th inning, I looked up and I went, oh, crap. I kept telling myself, just finish it, battle. If it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. So just enjoy it now.
We were expecting to see you sitting all off by yourself in the dugout, but you were right in the middle of all your guys. You weren't worried at all about superstition or anything like that?
Yes and no. You know, they did the same thing. You know, Shieldsy sat in the same spot. Price, Neiman, and Davis stood in the same spot. And I recognized, and I just didn't want to look up. I was like, you know, just keep looking down, stay focused, and get ready for the next inning.
How did the long inning affect you going out? When Joyce had the home run, it was about a 30-minute inning. Was there any effect on you heading out that inning?
Hell no. Joyce hit a grand slam. I was pumped as hell. I was like, he broke one of them up, so thank God.
Yeah. But, Matt, how much different was tonight when you left the bullpen pregame warming up as any other night?
Felt, you know, the same. Just knew what I had to do and knew where I was going, and just guy behind the plate put the right numbers up, and I didn't shake often because when I did, it was not the right pitch. So I'm don't know what really what to say. Just man.
Enjoy the moment. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks
Congratulations,
for
man.
Thank you.
Matt Garza, the Tampa Bay Rays, throws the first no-hitter in Rays history, the 5th no-hitter of the 2010 Major League season. He walks 1, strikes out 6, gets a shaving cream pie in the face from Evan Longoria. And what excitement for him in the crowd of just over 17,000 here at Tropicana Field tonight as Tampa Bay takes the opening game of the series by a score of 5-0. Grand slam for Matt Joyce, home run for Carl Crawford. But the big story, Matt Garza has thrown a no-hitter. Ramon Santiago, the last batter of the night, the fly ball to right field, ended it and set off the celebrations here in St. Petersburg. Thanks for joining us tonight. For Aaron Boone and Chris Singleton, I'm Dan Shulman saying so long from the Trop. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. A great night for the Tampa Bay Rays and their fans as Matt Garza becomes the first Ray to throw a no-hitter in this 5-0 win over Detroit. Now, let's send you back to the studio for Baseball Tonight.
Dan Herron set to make his debut for the LA Angels of Anaheim on the mound in Anaheim tonight against the Boston Red Sox. We thought that would be the pitching storyline Monday across the major leagues. Guess what? Once again, we had it wrong. Welcome to the broadcast. It's Baseball Tonight with you for the hour plus here on ESPN. Steve Berthiaume along the way, joined by the Baseball Tonight no-hit cavalcade of stars. It's Nomar Garciaparra, it's Buck Showalter, and it's Tim Kirchin. Guys, it seems like we have spent virtually this entire season on no-hitter and perfect game alert. Such was the case again this time, nationally televised here on ESPN. Matt Garza and the Rays taking on the Tigers in where?
Tropicana Field in Tampa.
You sort of got it. Gets Miguel, you did. Miguel Cabrera, Ryan Rayburn, 5-4-3. And
what a great double play.
The pitching matchup here, Max Scherzer and Matt Garza. For a while, it looked like we might have a double no-hitter. Danny Wirth, Ben Zobrist at the track.
That's a great catch right there, especially with a no-hitter intact. You always need those. You always see those during no-hitters.
Now, here's where we had a little bit of an issue. Bottom three, BG upped it on first after a walk. He takes off for second. Your second base umpire is Marty Foster. Safe. Replays will show that Marty did not have the call correct, and that's what Jim Leland is trying to point out here. And Jimmy Buck is making a pretty strong case.
Now, this is where you got to make sure you didn't just have a glass of water or something, because I think that's what got him ejected.
I mean, he's out by a good foot or so.
Yeah, a little spittle there.
But Marty, it seemed, was right behind BJ, and it was hard to tell from his perspective probably when the tag was applied and when the foot was on the bag.
Well, if you can't tell from his perspective, we got an issue because he's the umpire.
I think that's what Jim was trying to point out. Here's Jim Leland, Gary Cedarstrom is in there, Danny Wirth in the sixth. Garza now has to sit down. You see the time up there, top left, 8:41 p.m. Eastern time, and Max Scherzer's in an absolute mess, bottom six. Carl Crawford fouls it off. That's catcher's interference on Gerald Laird. They give Crawford first.
Right, and that's an error on the catcher, no time at bat for the hitter.
After walking Evan Longoria, they're loaded. Scherzer gets Carlos Pena. He is 1 out away from getting out of this mess. Meantime, Garza is just sitting watching with a no-hitter in progress. Matt Joyce! First hit of the ball game is a grand slam, 4-0 Tampa Bay.
So Scherzer's the first pitcher since Frank Viola in 1990 to have a no-hitter broken up with a grand slam that late in the game. Dickie Thon off of Frank Viola.
Note the time up there again, top left. Garza sat at 8:41. He's back out there at 9:12. John Damon flies out. Garza no-no through 7.
You can see it in his eyes at this point, Bert.
It sort of seemed that was the case as we were watching. Top 8, Miguel Cabrera. Carl Crawford fighting the lights here, Nomar.
This is a tough play right there. This is what we were discussing. Like, if he loses in the lights, how would that be scored? You give it the air, you give it a base hit. Glad he caught it.
Yeah, the official score right now. Ooh, we got a little help there.
Brennan Bosch was on the wrong end of that call. Ryan Rayburn takes a cut and misses. So Garza has a no-no through 8. Scherzer has lost his no-hitter on the grand slam. Here's Garza's 9th inning. Don Kelly on a 3-2 pitch grounds out to second base. Garza 2 outs away. Here's Gerald Laird. They're on their feet with the cowbells and the whole thing in the trough. Ooh, again.
I think they might even have some vuvuzelas there going, too. They have it all of it.
It sounded like he had a couple in there. So the final out. Santiago. Matt Garza throws the first no-hitter in Tampa Bay Rays history and the 5th no-hitter in the major leagues this year. Remember, Roy Halladay and Dallas Braden threw perfect games. Ubaldo Jimenez and Edwin Jackson threw no-hitters. Add to the list now, Matt Garza, the 5th no-hitter in the majors this year and the first ever for the Tampa Bay Rays.
And we have an argument with an asterisk for Galarraga, so there are possibly 6.
Excellent point. If you count Armando Galarraga, we'd be looking at 6 no-hitters and 3 perfect games. But Matt Garza will certainly take the no-no. He's now 11-5, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 120 pitches, 80 for strikes. The remarkable thing here, guys, is going into the game, Matt Garza career against the Tigers, 0-4 in 6 starts, the ERA near 6. And he was dominant here, as we saw. Only 1 walk and 6 strikeouts over his 120 pitches. So here is the year of the pitcher, 2010. It started with Ubaldo Jimenez, the no-hitter against the Braves April 17th. Then Dallas Braden, the perfect game on Mother's Day. 20 days later, Roy Halladay threw a perfecto. Edwin Jackson no-hit the Rays. And now, for the Rays, Matt Garza no-hits the Tigers. Back now to Tropicana Field, the men who called it for you right here on ESPN. Aaron Boone and Chris Singleton are with Dan Shulman. Dan.
Steve, thank you very much. And right from the moment this game began, way before anybody could have anticipated that Matt Garza might throw a no-hitter, both Chris and Aaron started talking about the fastball. He was throwing a lot of fastballs. He was attacking the strike zone. And, Chris, when we look at his strikeout package, we're going to see a lot of fastballs.
Yeah, most times you say a pitcher comes in, he was locating his fastball at the knees to both sides of the plate. Well, not tonight for Matt Garza. He was effective with his fastball at the top of the strike zone, and he started it with the leadoff man in the ballgame, Austin Jackson. Jackson finishing there, and Miguel Cabrera, an MVP candidate, ties him up inside as he does Gerald Laird. Brennan Bosch couldn't pull the trigger, gets a little expansion on the strike zone, and then he went to the breaking ball in the last few innings of the game and was able to really command it. It went from a pitch that he was just getting over to a pitch that he was getting them to swing and miss.
Yeah, and after the long 6th inning where he was on the bench where Joyce hit the home run, he came out and struggled with the first couple hitters falling behind, but really that was the only time all night. And his stuff was extremely dynamic at the back end of that entire game, which was the impressive thing for me.
And here's the line from Matt Garza, just the one walk. Just one base runner tonight that came back in the 2nd inning. Brennan Bosch, then Ryan Rayburn hit into a double play. A great double play, by the way. Not a routine double play turned by the Rays. So Garza faces the minimum. Behind every no-hitter is some good defense. Aaron, the catch by Ben Zobrist. Again, this was early, but this was the defensive play of the game.
Yeah, first the Longoria play, but the play by Ben Zobrist in right field really speaks to the strength of this ball club and their athleticism, their great defense. Zobrist, a guy who plays everywhere on the field, uses all 6'4" of his frame to make an extremely athletic, completely stretched out play. And as we look back, we look back at that and say, there's our game-saving play for the no-hitter.
Now, there was another big one. Matt Garza, by the way, the game's been over about 15 minutes. He's still doing interviews, and there are still a lot of people here in the ballpark soaking up the excitement of this night. Another big play came in the 8th inning. Miguel Cabrera, one of the most dangerous men on the planet, Chris, was at bat, and he hit a ball that you've had to deal with many times. A low liner in the lights. Carl Crawford made a heck of a play.
And you don't hold Miguel Cabrera down for too long when you look at the numbers and the kind of year he's having. He really squared up a pitch from Matt Garza that almost took Crawford's head off in left field. It looked like it had some knuckling action to it, and as I mentioned earlier, it was like the ball caught Crawford instead of him catching the ball. Does an excellent job there as you battle the light bank. In left field and right field here at Tropicana Field, there is a mid-tier light bank that really comes into play on line drives, and Crawford battled it. And like we say so often, it comes down to a couple of great plays, and at the end of the ball game, something special happens, and it sure did here tonight.
Tigers with a lot of injuries, so their lineup isn't what it normally was, but don't take anything away from Matt Garza. He was dominant. He was brilliant. The 5th no-hitter of the 2010 season. Steve, it's unbelievable.
It sure is, Dan. 2010 continues to be the year of the pitcher. Matt Garza, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, the no-hitter, the first in Rays history. The Rays, the first team to be no-hit and have a no-hitter thrown for their team since 1991. Of course, Edwin Jackson, former Ray, no-hit them as an Arizona Diamondback. 6 strikeouts matches the fewest in a no-hitter this season. First no-no thrown ever on July 26th, and now we are down to 2. Only 2 teams have never had a no-hitter, the Padres and the Mets. The Tigers really struggle on the road. This was their 7th straight road loss. They are now 16-30 this season, Tim, away from Comerica Park. But this is a pretty tough road loss if you're the Tigers.
Right. And again, like you said, Bert, the year of the pitcher, the latest year of the pitcher. This was the 8th game this year in which a no-hitter was taken into the 9th inning. And we know with Armando Galarraga, we should probably have 6 no-hitters this year. This is the most no-hitters since 1991. And as you said, Padres and Mets, only 2 teams now without a no-hitter. But this is, again, this is what everywhere I go, fellas, I see the same thing. How many guys are talking about how good the pitching is in the big leagues, and this is another example.
That's why they're playing this time of year. You know what's amazing to me, too? He threw 120 pitches tonight, okay? 101 of them are fastballs. Everybody talks about, did he trick him with this? Did he do this? You know, would he have outstanding stuff? He challenged him with a fastball all night long. And I think about Jim Hickey. If you've ever been in a dugout when a pitcher's in jeopardy of getting a no-hitter or losing a no-hitter, being around a pitching coach not ain't fun. He's throwing every pitch with a pitcher. And the other thing I think about is Kelly Shopik. What a great job he did behind the plate tonight, because he feels like he's throwing that no-hitter. The one guy that doesn't feel like it, and what I thought about tonight, Jim Leland's in the clubhouse since the 3rd inning watching his team get no-hitter. Hang with him.
That's a tough hang in the hallway there.
That ain't good.
It is, and like you said, you got all these people who are worried about the no-hitters. You know, you talk about Kelly Shopik behind there doing a great job as a catcher. You talk about the pitching coach, but also the players as well. I'm telling you, Carl Crawford is another one who makes that, loses it in the lights, and still comes up with a great catch. Ben Zobrist out in the outfield making a great catch. But even the routine plays, they turn a great double play. all these things you're thinking as an infielder, okay, I got to make the play. This guy is doing a tremendous job for us. I don't want to be the guy to ruin this no-hitter. I want to make everything behind him, and they did.
And it's funny because we saw over the weekend in Seattle, Eric Patterson on what was a routine fly ball to center field, had the ball go off his glove. It cost John Lester a perfect game.
How about you're sitting up there and you're the official scorer? You're just hoping everything's clean, nothing happens. If that ball is in the lights and he muffs it, you know, I had Jesse Barfield in right field when Andy Hawkins pitched a no-hitter and lost. Same play, they scored an error in the sun.
I was official scorer in the minor leagues.
That's not fun.
And I called an error on the pitcher on a ball back to him, and I got booed out of the place because they thought I was protecting the pitcher, which of course was ridiculous. And of course he gave up like 6 runs, and I felt a little better after that.
We've got a lot going on a Major League Monday here. Dan Herron taking the mound in his Angels debut against the Red Sox, and Alex Rodriguez going for career home run number 600. The Yankees opening a 4-game set in Cleveland at Progressive Field, and a whole lot of Yankee fans on the road here, hopefully trying to watch history against Jake Westbrook, the pitcher for Cleveland, and he gets A-Rod to strike out in the second. That's his first at bat. Bottom 4, down 1-0, Nick Swisher. Westbrook retired their first 10 he faced, and then Swisher hits his 18th. It's 1-1.
Sometimes you got to play the fade with that sinker. Let it come back to the bat.
2 batters later, A-Rod, left field, Trevor Crow. They have Teixeira doubled up at second. And everybody seems to think on the Yankee side the ball hit the ground first, and it looks like they may be right here.
Well, you don't know if the ball bounced with the glove. I mean, we looked at it 3 or 4 different times. It's a tough call.
Top 5, Curtis Granderson. The Grandy Man can. Shin-Soo Choo will throw Granderson out at second as it goes off the wall. And the Indians get out of the inning.
He can really throw.
Exactly.
And accurate, on the money, all the time.
Bottom 6, Choo, right center. They will wave Michael Brantley from first as it hits the gap. Choo has a double, and it's 2-1 Cleveland. Shin-Soo Choo, one of the most underrated players in baseball.
See how hard Brantley ran there, though, knowing what if there's a play at second, I got to make sure I score here. Love to see that.
And again, A-Rod, after he hit .599, was still being a productive player. He's still getting base hits, hitting it to the gap, but lately, a lot of ground balls for A-Rod. Here's Curtis Granderson. That leaves the yard, his 10th and 3rd in 2 games, 3-2 New York.
Omar and I were discussing it's just not so easy to hit a home run. Hey, let's hit a homer now. Oh, okay.
And sometimes it's a pop-up. Matt Laporta is there. A-Rod 0 for 4 with a strikeout to that point. It's the opener of a 4-game series for the Yankees in Cleveland. And they have a 3-2 lead there in the 9th, and it is now final 3-2, 10 hits combined in the game. Javier Vasquez, now 6-2 since June 1st. He gets the win here.
So A-Rod now 17 at-bats between .599 and .600. Griffey had 17. Willie Mays had 21. That's the biggest gap between .599 and .600. I'm surprised it's not bigger than that. I mean, it's, again, hard to hit a homer on command.
Jake Westbrook among the list of pitchers whose names we hear regarding the trade deadline, which is Saturday. He's in the final season of a 3-year, $33 million contract. He's 32, has pitched in the postseason. He keeps it down with that sinker. Although he missed all of last season with an injury, he has looked healthy this year. And so far at the trade deadline, or near it anyway, the pitchers we've heard have been, and guys that have gone here, Tim, Cliff Lee, of course, Dan Herron yesterday, maybe Roy Oswalt is next. And there's that second tier of guys, Ted Lilly. Jake Westbrook is a guy who a lot of teams might have interest in.
Right, and I have a feeling he's going to move because there's a chance now that Roy Oswalt isn't going to move, although that wouldn't be a total surprise. So if the biggest guy isn't going to go, and Dan Herron's already gone, the Jake Westbrooks of the world can really help teams. This guy could help the Tigers. He could help the Mets, certainly. It doesn't mean he's going to pitch them to the division title or even start a game in October, but he's a really useful piece for the final 2 months. And again, Buck, then you get him for next year, right?
Well, he's proved that he's healthy. The thing I like about Jake Westbrook, he's athletic, he can repeat pitches, he showed he's healthy. Next year, you're really going to get the finished product on him because I think he's fully recovered from the surgery. And if you know the guy, he's just a competitor. He knows his limitations. I love him going to the National League, by the way. I think the American League's been a challenge for every pitcher, but I think he's a perfect guy to go to the National League. He's a sleeper pick in a trade that I think could really help somebody.
Yeah, and Omar, even when Westbrook gets beat, as we saw here today, he keeps it close.
He does, and when you see that, I mean, the value of that is because of that movement and that sinker. When you have a guy like that, he's going to keep the defense on their toes, ready to make the plays behind him. And I think Buck had an excellent point, especially having injuries such as myself so many times. It's usually that year and a half after that is really where you say, okay, that's a health, that's when you're strongest, that's when everything's behind you. And I think look out for next year.
Jake Westbrook, one of the pieces that may move. The trade deadline is coming up July 31st, Saturday. Much more trade deadline talk in this hour here on Baseball Tonight. In the meantime, we take a look at games in progress. That includes Jim Edmonds breaking up a 2-2 tie in Milwaukee, bottom 8. Wow. Boy, did that carry out there. That's a pretty deep home run in that ballpark. Edmonds' 8th of the year has given Milwaukee a 3-2 lead over the Reds. Cincinnati batting top 9. Look who's on the mound in Anaheim. Number 24, Dan Herron, your starter for the Angels against the Red Sox. Boston has a man on, top 1, 2 out. This is Baseball Tonight.
When I came to this country as a child, I never thought I'd get this far. But I learned how to motivate people, to put the team first, and to never stop learning. I started to expect more of myself and of others. And where did I learn all this? As an officer in the U.S. Army Reserve.
An Army officer leads by example. Can you? Find out at goarmy.com/officer.
He is the life of parties he has never attended. If he were to punch you in the face, you would have to fight off the strong urge to thank him. Sharks have a week dedicated to him. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. Stay thirsty, my friends.
I cannot believe that we just drove across the street to save 2 cents.
I don't need to hear your 2 cents about all the things I do to save 2 cents.
You see that a lot these days. People going out of their way to save money when they could just call State Farm. The fact is, State Farm offers discounts of up to 40%.
Hey, pick me up a Charleston Chew.
Okay, cannot hear you.
It's no wonder they're bigger than Geico and Progressive combined. So talk to your neighbors, then call an agent at 1-800-STATE-FARM.
What?
You might have beaten me to Bristol, but there ain't no way you get to Dago for me.
Driving mighty slow to be talking like that.
Well, that is just adorable. Do me a favor. Let me know how my taillights are working.
See you at the track. Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done?
Baby. Come on, don't be like that. Come on. There you go. There you go.
We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound and
Got $2 speed east on 29 towards the state line.
Baseball Tonight, brought to you by the U.S. Army. There's strong, then there's Army Strong. See strength like no other at GoArmy.com.
Tonight in St. Petersburg, Matt Garza threw the 5th no-hitter in the major leagues this year and the 1st in Tampa Bay Rays history. Matt Garza no-hits the Tigers. Pretty impressive performance from Matt Garza against the Detroit Tigers. The 5th no-hitter this season in the major leagues and the 1st ever for the Tampa Bay Rays, and now only the Padres and Mets have never had a no-hitter. Much more on Matt Garza's no-hitter against the Tigers in this hour here on Baseball Tonight. Welcome back. We started just a little bit early tonight. Steve Berthiaume here with Nomar Garcia-Parra, Buck Showalter, and Tim Kirchin. American League Central, we've seen the Tigers have lost. Clearly no hit by Matt Garza and the Rays in St. Petersburg. So here is the division going in. The Tigers were 2.5 back. That left the White Sox and Twins to take care of. Only 1 game separating them, and John Danks and company atop the division facing King Felix and the Mariners. Bottom 2, Mark Kotze. 1 on, 1 out. Casey Kochman, wow! And the tag for the double-up, no more.
That's a beautiful play. That has to be a Web Gem nominee. We might see that a little bit later.
Nomar is Web Gems are.
Thank goodness.
Jack Wilson, right center off John Danks. Michael Saunders gets sent in, and Seattle on the road here has a 1-0 lead. Mariners coming off a good weekend against the Red Sox at Safeco Field, back on the road here. Bottom 3, Alexei tries to steal. Hernandez is pitched by Rob Johnson, so now...
Great job by Pierre pulling that bat back right in the catcher's eyes.
Pierre can drive him in. Goes down and gets it. They'll wave Alexei. The throw coming home.
It's always tough with Pierre hitting because the outfielders play so shallow that it's tough to score a guy from second.
Omar Vizquel still getting it done. 2-1 Chicago.
Somebody asked me the other day, is he going to the Hall of Fame? The answer is yes.
That's the best shortstop I ever saw.
Yeah. Bottom 6, here's Paulie.
Next to Nomar.
No, it's all right. He's unbelievable. I admired him, too.
Stretch! It's into the bullpen. It's 22nd. Look at King Felix. Noonan. 3-1 White Sox.
Welcome to Chicago. Balls fly out in Chicago, Felix.
How about that? Although Ichiro this time is at the wall, Nomar is the web gem czar.
Ooh, I like that play as well. You always think I'm biased toward infielders. That's a great play.
I'll tell you what, this is one of the best web gem nights we've seen, certainly this month, maybe all year. Ichiro, the perfectly timed jump of the White Sox, lead the Mariners 4-1, bottom 8 at U.S. Cellular Field. Opener of a 4-game series between these two. The White Sox back from a 4-6 road trip. The division lead was only 1. They have been playing very well lately. 29 wins in their last 40 games. Danks trying to line up a win here. He is 3-0 in his last 3 starts, trying to make it 4 wins in a row. What about the Minnesota Twins? How's this for a pitching matchup? Francisco Liriano and Zach Greinke. Top 1, Jason Repko. Greinke, 5-1 in his last 7 starts, so he's been figuring it out lately. The ERA 2.89 over that span. Repko doubles.
Gordon out there in left field, converted left third baseman.
Alexei Casilla. This is a triple down the right field line. Repko scores 1-0 Minnesota. This was not Greinke's night. Joe Mauer. Deep enough. Casilla comes in 2-0. The first 4 Twins, Tim, got a hit to start the game.
I saw the Twins the other night in Baltimore, and this guy, by the way, Delman Young, is really swinging.
About
and he's playing a great right field. And Joe Mauer's all banged up. He's been hit by a bunch of foul tips and everything else, but he's coming around, and we'll watch out when that happens.
So the Twins here start double, triple, single, double. Then Danny Valencia later in the inning, a grand slam for his first Major League home run. Greinke, 8 earned on 8 hits in 4. Billy Butler, bottom 1. Jason Repko, Nomar.
He started it off by offensively and ended it with his defense right there. I think we might see that a little later as well.
We've seen Kochman, we've seen Ichiro, and now Repko, 3 high scores on the Burley meter.
How come it's so easy for him? Because he's got 2 batting titles?
If you were doing it, it would be a bunch of ground balls to shortstop.
Yeah.
Another.
Repko makes a nice play there.
Beautiful.
There's J.J. Hardy knocking it down.
Least number of errors in baseball, Minnesota Twins.
Joe Mauer, even with Justin Moore now out, the Twins are batting a Major League best 326 in 11 games since the All-Star break. The offense is there, and we see that here. They've only given up 3 hits, and they've got 17 runs. That's pretty one-sided. And Kansas City leads the majors with a 282 team batting average. Liriano, 3 hits, 6 scoreless, no walks for him, which is impressive, and 4 strikeouts. And Delman Young continues his tear, 2 for 4, 58 RBI since May 21st, the most in the majors over that span. Let's talk to him about Delman Young, because this is a guy, you forget he's only 24 years old. He had that real early start. There were character issues. It seems like he's settled into that Twins organization and figured it out.
Right, as Buck has said a few times, we think it's because Delman Young has gotten together with those Minnesota Twin guys, and he has conformed to the way they do things there. When he joined the club, they gave him to Michael Kadire, and they basically told Delman Young, you follow this guy around, you would do what this guy does, and you'll be fine. And now Delman Young has it, and he's a really good player. He was a good player in Tampa Bay. He was he could play the outfield, he could run the bases, and now he's really swinging it.
Yeah, and he's one of the most notorious first ball, fastball hitters. Everybody in baseball knows about it. But first time it caught my eye was in the spring when I saw him sitting on a breaking ball first pitch and then laying off some fastballs off the strike zone because, at 24 years old, as many at-bats he's had in the big leagues, people are starting to get a track record with him. When you see him start making adjustments, okay, I know that they know I'm a first ball, fastball hitter. Now they're going to pitch me a little bit off the plate. I'm going to take that pitch, get ahead in the count. I'm going to sit on some breaking balls early in the count, and he's still, if you throw that fastball around that plate early, he's dead red and he's letting it fly.
No, for sure. And that comes with experience, and that's good to see. That's what's going to keep him around for a long time. And I think what Tim was saying is an excellent point. I mean, you get around that Minnesota, there's two things you could either do. You either conform and you be a part of it, or you don't, and they'll just ship you out.
And Delman Young, of course. Delman Young, of course, ended up in the organization, traded for Matt Garza.
Right, very interesting. And I asked Ron Gardner, what is it about Delman Young this year? And he said, trust. He said, he trusts us. We trust him. He trusts himself, and that's the biggest reason he's been this good.
You know, Tim's talking about being a product of the Minnesota Twin culture too. But you know, the biggest thing you have going for you is peer pressure. And one of the buttons that if a player doesn't care about pleasing his teammates, usually that's the guy that needs to go to some other location. And what he does care about pleasing his teammates and pleasing the right teammates, and he's doing it for himself too. But boy, what a product he's been.
The consensus on the Minnesota Twins is at the trade deadline they could use a frontline starter somewhere in that rotation. The Angels went out and got their guy yesterday, Dan Herron. He's making his Angels debut tonight on the mound in Anaheim against the Boston Red Sox. And Herron got through a scoreless first, gave up a 2-out base hit to Kevin Youkilis. And Herron is still in there against the Boston Red Sox. It's now bottom one. And here's Herron's first inning. Marco Scutaro pops up.
It'll be real interesting. Herron's had some rough second halves after some really good first halves, and we'll see what he can do, recharged by a pennant race. Even though the Angels aren't exactly in it, out of it, they're in it to some degree.
J.D. Drew strikes out. And there's no worries about him going back to the American League. He's been in the National League for a while, but he's been an AL guy before. He's pitched in this division before.
Pitched in these ballparks. I mean, this isn't a big adjustment to him other than the DH.
Here's the breakdown on Darren Herron. His numbers indicate that he's a first-half guy. This is something to think about. Take a look at how Herron's ERA jumps up after the All-Star break. It's happened every year from 06 to 09, and it's happening again so far in 2010. The ERA in 2 starts since the break, granted small sample size, but it's over 7 here. Do you worry about that at all?
Well, when I look at those numbers and you see what he did before and then when you see after the break, I think oftentimes when I think of Dan Herron, you know, he goes after guys, he strikes out a lot of guys, also does a good job keeping the ball down. And when you keep the ball down in the second half, you might get a little fatigued and your ball starts to get up a little bit, and that can cause those escalated numbers. But I think he's going to get a second win. I don't think he's going to get tired because I think he's so excited to be back home. He's pitching in a independent race, going after that, and I think that's really going to help him the second half.
He's up here against Clay Buchholz. Buchholz has just given up a home run to Bobby Abreu. Abreu's 11th of the year. And let's take a look at this now. Buchholz came back with the Red Sox out on the West Coast last week, got knocked around a bit at San Francisco. No, pardon me, Oakland. And now he's back here in Anaheim and gives up the home run to Abreu. 1-0, the Angels lead the Red Sox. Dan Herron has been staked to the early lead. How about this in Milwaukee? Brewers up 1, 2 outs, top 9 against the Reds. Tying run on first. We'll see if they can finish this off when Baseball Tonight continues. And Carlos Zambrano, he's got some fences to mend in Chicago. The Big Z about to come back to his team. How's it going to go? He tells us coming up.
That was bad. I apologize from the bottom of my heart.
How do you know when something's good? When something's safe? You talk to these guys. They go through every car and truck we make with a big fat red pencil. Because they know a family's gonna be inside. A teenager, a guy on the way to the job. The engineers of Chevrolet. Just another reason why we can offer a 5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. And another reason why a Chevy's a Chevy.
When the stage is set and the cast has been gathered, when the lighting is perfect and the lead hits his mark, when the curtain rises and the spotlight is yours, having a strong signal at your back is like having invisible power everywhere. Because in that moment, you're not there to take up space. You're there to fill the room. Rule the air. Verizon.
Introducing the perfect beer to drink when you're relaxing. Red Stripe Light. Red Stripe beer, Red Stripe Light beer. Red Stripe beer, Red Stripe Light beer. Red Stripe beer. Relax, don't do it when you want to go to it. Relax. Red Light beer.
So we got great pitchers going head-to-head. Interesting decisions have to be made now.
He's starting to pitch well now, even though he's only 2-2. Big game pitcher, tough competitor.
I don't know what that is. You lost me.
And here we go. I'm John Middleman Jones.
Chips, man.
And this is ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Conventional automotive frames absorb energy, but this one does more. It collapses in some areas while staying rigid in others to help redirect energy around the cabin and away from you. The ACE body structure in the Acura MDX. The most innovative thinking you'll find in an Acura.
I want to see the most college football.
So I ordered ESPN Game Plan on DirecTV.
I get up to 15 out-of-market games per week.
The top conferences.
And key matchups.
Games you can't get anywhere else.
And the games I want to see.
Order the special early bird offer and get a full season of college football with ESPN Game Plan on DirecTV. To order for only 4 payments of $28.99 each, call 1-800-GET-SPORTS or visit directv.com/gameplan.
ESPN's Major League Baseball coverage continues Wednesday night. Tonight we showed you a no-hitter at Tropicana Field. You never know what you'll get. Wednesday night baseball, the Cardinals and Mets. You'll see at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Then Sunday night, the Dodgers and Giants from AT&T Park in San Francisco on ESPN and ESPN3.com. Baseball tonight starts us off at 7 o'clock on Sunday. The Rockies and the Phillies finishing up that set at the bank. Jason Hamill on the mound here. Phillies down 2-0. Brian Schneider second and third. Left center, Carlos Gonzalez and Seth Smith somehow run into each other in the outfield, and 2-run score. It's tied up. Oh, man. That's the kind of road trip it's been for Colorado. Next up, Joe Blanton, the pitcher for the Phillies. Little comebacker. The Giambino can't hang on at first. Hamill, plenty of... Boy, he took his time, didn't panic, and then that. So Blanton's safe. Rollins fouls it off his foot, and the Phillies certainly don't need that at this point.
Look, there used to be a day you can put anyone over at first base, but...
I tell you what, that ball will find you.
Now watch the Giambino here. The throw to second. Schneider scores from third. Phillies on 3-2.
Nobody handles the ball more than the first baseman, with the exception of the catcher.
Colorado down 5-2 in the ninth. Brad Lidge trying to get this thing done. Seth Smith, 2-run shot, his 14th. Now it's a 1-run game. Colorado down 5-4. 3 batters later, it's first and second for the Giambino. Lidge. Carlos Ruiz, it went right through him. Everybody moves up.
Might have been a blessing because it opened up the base to walk Giambi.
You do that here? Is that a no-brainer at that point?
I think so. And after the defensive miscues by Giambi, that probably doesn't make him very happy. You really want an opportunity to make up.
So they'll pitch to Spilbors. Chopper back to Lidge, makes a nice play to get the out. Phillies win at 5-4, 10 save and 13 chances for Brad Lidge. And the first win for Joe Blanton since June 24th. And the Rockies, man, this was ugly. They've lost 6 in a row, and now they go back home after a 2-9 road trip. The Phillies complete the 4-game sweep. They've won 5 straight, and they are now within 4.5 of the Braves for the lead in the NL East.
It hurts. It hurts. I didn't want to take my shoe off. I know, it's like twisting an ankle. As soon as you take it off, it blows up and starts to swelling. So I figured I could, make my way through the game. And I almost went over to Charlie not to do the double switch quite so early. So I'm not sure if I was going to make it. It doesn't seem like it should be something serious, but when adrenaline slows down, you really start to feel the pain.
With the way that you guys started the second half of the season, what a turnaround in terms of this series.
Definitely. We weren't hitting, plain and simple. We had guys in small position a lot, but couldn't find that big hit. Wasn't playing fundamental baseball, making a lot of silly errors, but we're able to come home after a meeting or two and get things going back on the right track.
They are fulfilled. The last 2 home series for the Phils against the Reds and the Rockies, not bad. They are winning close games, and their pitching has been there. The ERA against Cincinnati under 2, against the Rockies just over 2. So the Phillies rolling right now. They have won 5 in a row. We heard in that interview, guys, the word turnaround, and it has been, as we've seen, a turnaround for the Phillies. They were struggling, they were scuffling, but now they've won 5 in a row. Still, though, Tim, we hear discussion as we approach the trade deadline Saturday about dealing